Hello everyone, welcome to Coffee with Babar Chughtai. My name is Babar Chughtai and I'm a financial advisor with Desjardins. In this unique program, I bring you the individuals in our community who's been doing a great job and who is serving our community not only with respect and dignity, but with a lot of passion. And one of those individuals I have with me is Mr. Shiraz Khan, who is a certified life coach and hypnotherapist. Welcome to our program, Shiraz Khan. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. How are you, Babar?
Good, good. The first question I would like to ask you is, what is a certified life coach and hypnotherapist?
What is a certified life coach and hypnotherapist? That's a very interesting question. Life coach, or I would say in better perspective, so it makes better sense, transformational coach is somebody basically who helps somebody get from a certain place in their life to another place in life.
True.
And a hypnotherapist, basically, I'm a certified hypnotherapist, so I use hypnosis and several other modalities and tools that help people get the changes that they want. So where a life coach might just be giving advice, the transformational part happens using hypnosis and all the other tools and trainings that I've taken.
Good. Just to continue this question, a lot of people have such a negative thinking towards life coach. Probably they had a bad experience, especially when we talk about hypnotherapy. Who do you think can use your services? Like, which are the individuals in terms of, I mean, you've been doing it for quite some time. What are your main target market, I would say?
Well, basically, I'll start off with, I run a clinic, and the main three focus problems that I help is people with weight management,
okay,
right? The second biggest is stress management, which is connected to the weight. A lot of people are COVID and stress, have bad eating habits, etc. So weight related to stress, stress management. And again, the third thing, that domino that usually falls when you're stressed, is addictions. So I help people who are trying to control their weight, trying to control their stress, which is again related to emotions, and trying to control their addictions that they've had for so long. And the most important one, which I find I am specializing in, is chronic pain. So a lot of chronic pain that's been lagging in people for a long time, I find that get surprisingly very quick relief after a deep hypnosis and a few sessions combined together.
And most of these issues you mentioned, I think they are correlated with each other. Like, I mean, those people who overeat, they have weight issues, and they have weight issues, they get into depression. And I think COVID did not really help it make things worse. So you must have got really busy during the COVID and after.
Yeah, I was shocked because as soon as COVID hit, we couldn't meet anybody. And I started doing online sessions. And many people ask, is it going to be as effective? But the year in COVID of 2019 was phenomenal. I had many people that I never saw in person. I was able to get them the amazing relief and transformation that they were looking for, virtually just online. Obviously, it's different from a human touch, but as long as the person I noticed has wanted the change, it's been very productive on getting that change done.
And I think it's really interesting to know that you can provide this kind of treatment online as well. A lot of people probably hesitant, meet you in a person this way. I mean, it's less fearless. The people become more comfortable when they are in front of the camera or they are behind the scenes. So I think that's one of the things which will really help those individuals who don't want to come and see you in person. I think when you talk about these issues which you just mentioned, a lot of time people are not understanding the process. They are more fearful of how it is going to be done. If you can elaborate on that, what are the major components of the therapy you are providing to all your clients?
Definitely, 100%. And that's usually the biggest fear, because I have even family members, I got close friends who hesitate because, as soon as you say you're a hypnotist, you get this weird reaction from people. And I know it has a negative stigma. And many people don't even know what a life coach is, saying, why do I need guidance, right? I've done schooling, I've got my degree, but sometimes you don't have direction, right? So all basically hypnosis is a state of focus. And the negative stigma that you hear and is mind control. I'm sure you've heard that, like,
Yeah.
people, and you've seen the entertainment where you have a lot of people on stage.
True.
And they're doing things that they normally wouldn't do, right? And you'll be surprised that, oh, the hypnotist is controlling. But you'll be very surprised that you're actually very awake during hypnosis.
I think that's a very interesting point. A lot of people, as you mentioned, when it comes to the hypnosis, it's more like a fun and, and somebody like you who actually do as a profession, they know how serious this thing is. Not only fun part, that's what most people understand, but which is not true.
Yeah. No, and I just want to add something to that, because if you look at it from a different perspective, yes, it's entertainment. There is hypnosis and entertainment, and it's all various range of entertainment. But if you step back and look at the person, let's say he's quote-unquote hypnotized, and he's acting like Elvis or a rock star in front of 1,000 people. Now, if he was to consciously do that, where would that take him? Right? So it's like the power of the mind was able to get him to freely be himself, if that's how he wanted. It's mostly extroverts that usually join the stage. If you're an introvert and you're scared, you can't be hypnotized, right? You don't want to be hypnotized, right? So it is 100% voluntarily.
Awesome.
Right?
That's very different way to look at things. Another part of your life coaching process is, I believe, timeline therapy. And would you like to tell more about timeline therapy to clients? A lot of people are probably not aware of this concept, and I think this is what you use during your coaching process.
Timeline therapy is one of the most, I believe, and I don't like necessarily the word therapy, but you could say timeline clearing is one of the most effective tools that we have as practitioners. And the simplest way I can explain it, imagine you can reset certain events in your life. And for example, the best way to explain it, I got many people recently, a person who was scared of spiders. He's a grown man, he's a 25-year-old man about to get married, and it started off recently. He was at his in-laws, and a spider showed up. His fiancée says, "Don't look there," and all of a sudden, he jumped on the sofa.
Wow. And I think these fears are very common.
Oh, they're very
right?
legitimate,
yeah.
because in his mind, that is a threat. So he jumped onto the sofa, obviously felt embarrassed. It's a very small thing. Felt embarrassed. And he mentioned it to me. I said, well, if you want the problem to go away, I can coach you out of it. I can't tell you to be not scared of spiders. I can help you if you want to get out of the fear. So it's kind of a choice. And when you kind of give the mind the choice, and they want that change to happen, then the tools of hypnosis, timeline therapy, all of those become now effective. Excellent. If the person said, no, I want to keep this fear, it's not a big problem, well, the problem stays. And then...
And even you cannot help them in that case.
No one can help them, right? So once that's reset, internally, your perspective has changed. And a week later, he says, I saw a spider, I picked it up, I looked at it.
It was nothing.
It was nothing. And he goes, I'm not sure if you told me to do what I wanted, but I was looking at it, and I smacked it. And I'm like, you're not supposed to kill the spiders, but compared to jumping off onto the board, he was a lot more empowered.
The next question which comes in my mind is that a lot of people think the same way, that they go through various other therapies, like they go to psychiatrists when they have these kind of issues, what you just mentioned, or therapists, psychiatrists, and all those individuals. How your treatment is different than those kind of therapies, which everybody knows nowadays?
Yeah, and just to mention before, you can continue to do those therapies. This is, again, supplementary, additional, extra, behind-the-scenes stuff that you can do. I find the biggest difference between my sessions and a psychotherapist sessions is where in a psychotherapy sessions, they focus on the problem, and they keep wanting you to explain the problem in detail. And in doing so, you are reliving your experiences in the moment of you asking a question. And regardless of the question, your mind will want to answer that question. Where my sessions are different, where I do have to hear the problem, I do have to see where they are, But in a very short time, once I've heard the information, then we start working on how to change the information. So trying to make sure that you don't react that way. And one of the biggest things that we do, the first thing we do with all my clients, is getting control of your emotions, right? And that's a big thing, because outside of all the things that are upsetting you, if you had a reset of your emotions, of your anger and your sadness and all the things that might have built up from childhood, you have a better perspective. So the sooner you get to that better perspective, the sooner you heal. So one of the key differences, not only are my sessions, more condensed and doesn't take a year, they are short, they're powerful, and the effects of them are lasting. Why? Because we are able to get to the root cause of the problem, not something that happened last week. So with the timeline clearing that I mentioned, we're able to go back to the first time you possibly have learned when to get angry. And you may not consciously remember that, but your unconscious mind, the one that has all your memories, has a little nice detail on where that exactly is. And through, obviously, hypnosis, through your volunteer cooperations, we work together in clearing that. So I find that, one, the sessions are shorter. Number two, sessions, 99% of the time after every session, you're lifted a little bit higher. And the third, again, no medications, and it's effective because you are taking your own responsibility. You're not relying on the psychotherapist. You're not relying on that person. Yes, it may look like you're relying on me, but I reverted back to you that I'm here only as a support. I'm not going to save you. I can't save you. You have to save yourself, and now in that process, I'm here to support you. I usually tell people I'm your best cheerleader. I want you to succeed.
Good. In our community, I experienced that there are individuals, regardless of their age, they're teenagers, they're young man, male, female, regardless of their age, more or less they have some sort of issue. But the problem is they don't come out. They feel stigma that, having a mental stress or mental illness is, there's nothing they can do anything about. So with your treatment, how would you like to approach to those people and give them a message that it's okay and you can still help them out? It's not the end of the road, right? Because we have seen, unfortunately, sometimes things got really bad, and sometimes they have to end up taking their own lives. And it happens quite often, not only in our community, but generally speaking, especially with the teenage, because they don't see any way out of that. So how would you approach to those people and give them a message that, you know what, it's not the end of the road. There is a way you can help them.
100%. Our first biggest assumption we make as life coaches, your problem is not you. Your problem is not you. Your behavior is not you. If you're addicted to something, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you have a problem. So with the tools that we have, we first disassociate you from your problem. So now that you have that nothing's wrong with you. If I was in the same shoes as you were, if I went through the same life experiences, and everyone has different variations of trauma. It could be my dad passed away, my mom died, my wife left me. These are all events that happen. And it's okay to be emotional, but you shouldn't be stuck in your emotions.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to feel like you're low, and there's nothing wrong with you. So once we establish that you're absolutely normal, you're behaving exactly like anyone else would be, that's the first step that you start to get a little bit of light of a possible change, right? And my job is to try to open that door. Unfortunately, with our society and because of our community doesn't understand how the mind works, I would say, it's very easy to say, well, that person is crazy. That person is, something's wrong with them. And that's just our ignorance. It's nothing to do with that person something wrong. A lot of clients have kids with ADD, and I said, that's very high functioning. There's something in that communication in that brain that God made that is working very high. We just don't understand it. But it doesn't mean that that person is low class or not as valuable as me. And I tell people even those people can transform if they start believing it, right? Sure. So I strongly believe that the biggest difference is to realize that you weren't put on the earth to feel depressed, angry, and sad. I don't believe that was your purpose, and that would be your continuous purpose.
And there's always help.
There's always
available.
help. It's just finding the right help, finding the right communicator, and this is why communication. You know, when we get clients, I said, you know, one is to be able to be yourself, right? And I would say personally, I went through all those struggles myself. You know, when clients come, they see this version, but I said, if you saw the other versions, I went through all those cycles. That whatever transformation I'm helping you with, I've actually had to go through them myself, and myself have to keep maintained.
Well, this discussion can go on and on, but I would ask you a very last question. Is there like a sort of treatment where you have to go through once and you're done with it, or you have to, in order to maintain that mental condition, you have to have a maintenance program as well? I think that's very important. A lot of time when people talk about if they have some sickness, they take the medication and they're done with it. But I guess in your life coaching process, it has to be ongoing process where you have to provide the maintenance to the client as well.
Not necessarily. The answer to the question of how long does sessions take, I tell everybody right up, regardless of, and usually it's obviously if it's a small problem, like for example, that client that came for the spider, maybe another session to make sure that he's reacting normally, and maybe a third one to make sure it's completely gone. Obviously, if you had a problem for so many years, thinking that you could just have one session is kind of foolish.
Exactly.
It's kind of foolish, right? If your problem is you're in the deep end, you have no confidence, you feel the world is crashing down on you, you feel that you can never do anything in life, that does take some extra time because you've been saying that story for so long, right? And once you've cleared 6 months, our job is to keep making sure. So that's why I say on a standard, a year, where you can say yes. Now you don't need me to worry about you. Now you don't need to worry about yourself. Now you're doing all the things. You're checking in regularly. You're listening to the audio. I support a support system with a lot of hypnosis audios that keeps the mind going strong. So maintenance is responsibility of the client, and obviously my job is to make sure that no past behavior is creeping up. And as long as I've taken care of that, then the sessions don't need to continue on. I tell people I am your friend and your coach all the time, but I don't need to be sitting with you every weekend to talk about your life and try to get you successful, because why aren't you being successful than sitting and dealing with it? So I don't like to keep clients in for too long. I rather them cycle, refer, and just keep going as get on with your life, right? Stop being so negative.
Excellent. As I said earlier, this discussion can go on and on, but we have to close this program here. If you like to share your phone number where people can reach you and get more information and probably set up a session with you, you can share that number with them.
I offer 30-minute sessions up to sometimes 45 minutes, because many people, even after watching this show, will probably have interesting questions. So I'll be more than happy to answer them. In the 30-40 minutes that we talk in the free consultation that I offer, we go over anything. I have a survey that I get you to fill out, so I kind of have an idea of what we're going to talk about. If you've seen the show, you have maybe a little bit of idea, but definitely when you come, I will eliminate all fears. You could definitely call me at 416-939-6311, 416-939-6311. And the last thing I would leave with you, either the hypnosis and the coaching works, or it doesn't. So there's actually no risk other than time. And as long as you can spend a little bit of extra time in making the changes, 99% of the time you will get the results that you are definitely looking for.
Thank you so much, Shiraz. Just like Shiraz, I help people in all their insurance needs, such as life, critical, disability, income insurance. So if you want to consult with me for your customized insurance plan, you can call me at 416-816-9210. I'll see you next week with a new individual who are serving our community with respect and care. Allah Hafiz.